The top tonight, we are getting you big news both from the BJP and the Congress camps in the run-up to 2024. The story from the BJP camp is the Telugu Desam Jana Sena BJP alliance is now likely. Chandrababu, Naidu and Pawan, Kalyan are meeting Home Minister Amit Shah this evening. A seat-sharing formula is on the agenda. So after Odisha, it appears that next in line will be Andhra Pradesh. Let me go straight across to Paulomi Saha, who's joining me on that. Paulomi, is that a done deal now? Chandrababu Naidu will go along with the BJP, or the BJP will go along with Naidu and Pawan Kalyan and almost create a grand alliance against Jaganmohan Reddy there?
That's right. As far as Andhra Pradesh is concerned, it is a done deal as far as TDP and Jana Sena's alliance with the BJP is concerned. Today, of course, one of those final meetings that we, of course, perceive to be the final meeting possibly to arrive at a seat-sharing formula is going to happen. TDP chief N. Chandrababu Naidu is in Delhi already. He is at 50 Ashoka Road as we speak at TDP MP Jaideep Galla's residence, and shortly he will leave from 50 Ashoka Road and go to the Home Minister's residence and have that meeting, and Pawan Kalyan will be present in that meeting as well. There has been a lot of back and forth between the two sides because the TDP believes that it is in a more dominant position in Andhra Pradesh and doesn't want to give much as far as the 25 Lok Sabha seats of Andhra Pradesh are concerned, possibly 3 to 4 at the most. BJP would be happy with 6, but at the most it is demanding about 8 seats in Andhra Pradesh Lok Sabha, and then of course comes the negotiation concerning the assembly seats in Andhra Pradesh as well. So they're fine-tuning that. Pawan Kalyan, interestingly, is playing the role of a mediator at the moment because Pawan Kalyan, of course, joined hands with the TDP to take on the YSRCP and then, of course, initiated conversation with the BJP as well. He, of course, met with the Prime Minister when the Prime Minister was in Vizag last year. So clearly, this chain of events was set in motion by Pawan Kalyan, and he's playing the role of the mediator.
Okay, so after the Biju Janata Dal, it appears now Andhra Pradesh could be next on line. Some would say BJP shopping for allies, bringing together the old NDA in a way as it tries to dominate the 2024 elections. Thanks very much, Paulomi. Let's go straight from there to the other breaking news, and this is coming from the Congress camp, where the Congress Central Election Committee meeting is underway in the national capital, and Rahul Gandhi's seat is to be finalized in today's meeting. Sources telling India Today that Rahul Gandhi will contest from Wayanad in Kerala for a second time. There's been a big buzz whether Rahul Gandhi may choose to fight possibly from Telangana, but the story we are getting, Rahul Gandhi will fight like he did in 2019 from Wayanad and Amethi. So Rahul Gandhi likely to fight from both those seats. Remember, in Wayanad he'll be against the left. Annie Raja, the wife of D. Raja, the CPI leader, has been put up as their candidate there. But Maushmi Singh joined me. Maushmi, is that certain now that Rahul Gandhi will fight from Wayanad and Amethi? There was some doubt over Wayanad in particular because the left was keen that Rahul Gandhi choose a constituency where he's not in direct conflict with an India alliance partner.
That's right, Rajdeep. We are told that the CEC is not a mere formality as far as Rahul Gandhi contesting from Wayanad is concerned. And we've got the list of states that are going into consideration, and already Karnataka is being discussed. So Kerala is already over, and then you'll have Delhi and Chhattisgarh. A total of 57 seats is what we are looking at. But interestingly, if you look at the time line from 7 p.m. to 8:40, 1 hour 40 minutes, 57 seats, a done deal as far as clearance by the CEC is concerned. So not much of brainstorming happening here. Perhaps the screening committee is being given the responsibility, and only a single name is cropping up from every constituency. So that really actually also talks about the fact that Congress is in the want and need of strong candidates. There aren't many to sort out from, and the CEC is wrapping up pretty quickly. One of these leaders was walking out, Kerala leaders. I asked him, Rahul Gandhi, why not confirmed? I won't name him, but he put his finger to his lips and nodded yes. So we will wait and see, Rajdeep, but the list is going to be out tomorrow, and we'll know how many candidates, who's in and who's out. in those 57 names.
We'll wait and see where eventually Rahul Gandhi contests. There was some talk of Telangana as well. For now, it seems it will be two constituencies, Wayanad and Amethi. Thanks very much, Maushmi Singh. Let's turn from there to our big story today, the battle to lure the youth voter. The Yuva voter has intensified ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi today rolled out 5 Yuva guarantees. Promises ranging from 30 lakh government jobs, a law against paper leaks, to a 5,000 crore fund for startups. The Prime Minister in Srinagar also reiterated his youth guarantee. Is employment, or rather unemployment, a big issue in the 2024 battle? That's what we'll find out.
It's guarantee versus guarantee in the run-up to the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, who's on his Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra, announced a youth manifesto at the rally in Rajasthan.
मैं आपको यह बताना चाहता हूं कि हिंदुस्तान के युवाओं के लिए, आदिवासी युवाओं के लिए, पिछड़े वर्ग, दलित, गरीब, जनरल कास्ट के युवाओं के लिए कांग्रेस पार्टी क्या करने जा रही है। सरकार में आने के एकदम बाद हमारा पहला काम होगा कि 90% को 30 लाख सरकारी नौकरियां हम दे देंगे।
The Congress has made 5 promises for the youth. 30 lakh government jobs, a strict law against paper leaks, Right to Apprenticeship Act that will provide a 1-year apprenticeship to every diploma holder or college graduate below the age of 25. Apprentices will get ₹1 lakh a year. Protection for young drivers, security guards and delivery persons with a pension. And a startup fund for every district.
हिंदुस्तान के युवाओं को, सब युवाओं को अप्रेंटिसशिप का अधिकार देने जा रहे हैं और ये अधिकार हर ग्रेजुएट, हर डिप्लोमा होल्डर को मिलेगा। सरकारी ऑफिस में 1 साल की अप्रेंटिसशिप दी जाएगी और 1 लाख रुपए उसे 1 साल में दिया जाएगा।
Rahul Gandhi has focused on the plight of lakhs of students suffering due to frequent paper leaks and unemployment during the Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra. Meanwhile, in Srinagar, the Prime Minister reiterated his Modi ki guarantee catchphrase.
मैं 2014 के बाद जब भी आया मैंने यही कहा, मैं ये मेहनत आपका दिल जीतने के लिए कर रहा हूं और मैं दिनों दिन देख रहा हूं कि मैं आपका दिल जीतने की दिशा में सही दिशा में जा रहा हूं। आपका दिल मैं जीत पाया हूं और ज्यादा जीतने की कोशिश मेरी जारी रहेगी और ये मोदी की गारंटी है, मोदी सूझ गारंटी। और आप जानते हैं मोदी की गारंटी यानी गारंटी पूरा होने की गारंटी।
In a young country like India, it's clear that it is the youth vote that will matter. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let's raise the big questions then tonight. Which agenda for the youth dominates? The Congress's Rozgar pitch, will it now have any impact? Is a youth voter now key in 2024? Is the Modi factor, on the other hand, still dominant? Is employment or unemployment a key issue in the battle for 2024? I'm joined by Shankar Iyer, political economy analyst and author. Joining me now also Tuhin Sinha, the BJP's national spokesperson, and JB Mathur, the Congress's member of parliament. I appreciate all of you joining me here on the show tonight. Let me come to you, JB Mathur, first, because the Congress today is making this big pitch, saying that we are going to provide jobs to all, we are going to have a right to apprenticeship, 30 lakh government jobs will be made available to the youth. You're talking about the gig economy being given social security. There will be those who will say, look, the Congress party had a long time in power. A lot of this could have been implemented when you were in power, either in the center or states. Rajasthan, one of your states, had one of the worst unemployment rates in the country. So how does the Congress have the How do we trust the Congress that you will act on these promises?
Rajdeep,
Before I start, let me first appraise you that I am on a hunger strike for the past 5 days, and whatever inconvenience caused in that regard about the ambience, please bear with me, because I am in the front of Secretariat of Kerala along with Youth President and NSUI Kerala President, and me being Mahila Congress President.
Yes, you are
Now,
protesting against the left government. JB Mathur, I'm glad you mentioned that. Ma'am, you are protesting against the left government, which is your ally.
No, definitely we are protesting because this is again a murder of a veterinary college student, a brutal murder, and we are asking a CBI probe into it. Anyway, now let me get to your question that regarding how the Congress can be trusted and about the plan rolled out by Congress. See, we have a clear plan, and that plan is what is being rolled out today for the youth. And why did we roll out this plan? Because past 10 years, there's acute unemployment crisis in the country. And if you look at it, we are at a 45-year unemployment high. Nobody can deny that. Now I just heard Prime Minister's version that that what I promised, I'm going to, uske liye hard work kar rahe hai. Kya mehnat kar rahe hai? If he was hard working, how would the unemployment become a 45-year-old high? So the hard fact is, we have an issue. That issue is we have unemployment crisis. And when there is unemployment crisis, what's the plan? Now, the present government, if they had a plan, they should have implemented it in the 5-10 years they are in government. Which they didn't do, they miserably failed in all their efforts. That is why we have the unemployment crisis. Now, what are we saying? What is Congress saying? And who are we saying? We are the ones who have always taken the rights-based approach when UPA government was there. We have witnessed country being given with Right to Information Act, right to employment through Narega, which was criticized by BJP that time, but they had to continue it, although they took steps to cut down the budget. That's a different story. But in any case, whether it's right to employment, whether it's right to information, whether it is food security, we have always taken a rights-based
I must ask
approach.
you, ma'am, but I ask you, ma'am, one of the highest unemployment rates was in Rajasthan when you had a government there. I only am going to go by the numbers, and I'm going to in a moment compare the UPA era with the NDA era. So I'll come to that graphic in a moment. But I ask you this, there will be those who will say that many of these promises you could have had a model state. You could have built Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, any state as a model state. Why didn't you do it then?
We have already brought in Karnataka and also in Telangana for accidental insurance and for youth Arogya schemes, and also in Rajasthan in 2023. But the fact remains that when we were in union government, we have actually proved and shown that the rural unemployment, there's a big step. Now, can the government show anything to their credit?
I'll ask my producer to pull up those graphics comparing NDA and UPA in a moment. But Tuin Sinha, you deserve a response before that to what JB Mathur said. She says the Congress has proven its track record with Manrega, a scheme which Narendra Modi, when he was in the opposition, was a Gujarat Chief Minister, mocked at. He questioned Manrega, saying you're doling out money to people. Today, Manrega is a critical part of the government's policy initiatives towards the rural poor. So, how does the BJP now combat when the Congress talks of a Rozgar to all, that they will create a right to apprenticeship?
Good evening, Rajdeep. Good evening, everybody. Even before I come to specific data, let me say this with all responsibility, that there is a fundamental and a paradigm difference between the way we view our youth and between the way the Congress views the youth. For the first time in our country, we have been talking of a vision for the next 20, 25 years, where the youth of this country will be at the core of executing that vision. Today, India has approximately 1.95 crore first-time voters out of 97 crores, which means approximately 2%. And these people are going to be at the core of executing our Viksit Bharat plans. So taking them into account, while we are setting the agenda for an aspirational society, just look at, our investments in sports, just look at our investments in the space technology. In fact, right now, 1 hour ago, we have, the cabinet has introduced an AI policy worth 10,000 crores worth of investment. What is the Congress doing on the other hand? Dividing people on the basis of caste by asking people that आपका नाम शिव प्रसाद है तो आप तरक्की नहीं करोगे. So that's point number one. There is a fundamental difference. Now let me come to some data. You know, the unemployment rate is at its 4-year low as substantiated by a comprehensive SBI report. It is at 3.2%. If you look at the regular ESIC data, which talks about enrollment into, government enrollment, as per the last December data, there was an 18% increase for that month alone. So there was 18 lakh new people added to the workforce. Thirdly, when you have a capex expenditure of 11 lakh crore per year, that simply cannot be jobless growth. But yes, the nature of employment today has changed. Gig economy is bigger in chunk than ever before, which somehow the Congress party is unable to comprehend. So I think, all of these factors taken into
the problem with numbers and data is you can cherry pick from whichever institution you get those numbers and claim that we brought unemployment down. But Shankar Iyer, give us a more objective perspective of unemployment. Is this a pitch which can work in today's India? The Congress claiming that they'll bring a Rozgar revolution. The BJP saying we are bringing a Viksit Bharat. Do you believe that the unemployment situation actually on the ground is just too complicated and political parties, there are no quick fix solutions? All that many parties want, like in Maharashtra, is reservations, back to reservations, more and more reservation.
Well, there is data and then there is data, Rajdeep. So you can torture data and ask it to say anything that you want it to say. But the simple fact is that every opinion poll of India Today in the past 3 years has flagged unemployment at the top of the list. What is the reason why every political party in every state is offering some kind of welfare measure, freebies, revdi, whatever the opposition or the ruling front wants to call it? The fact is that even in Delhi and the extension of the free food program, the extension of the Ujjwala program, the extent of welfare shows that there is some distress at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, this month we heard on February 29 that the GDP grew by 7.6%. It's indisputable that the GDP grew by 7.6%. That is visible in the data on government spending, on tax collections, on GST collection, and on the performance of PSUs and the stock indices. At the same time, there is a difference. I mean, Joan Robinson used to say that everything that you say about India, the opposite is equally true. And so when you go to the data, you find that private consumption is at 3%. Two of the largest employers in the country, agriculture and services, are not doing well. I mean, agriculture contracted and now might close the year at sub 1%. Services double-digit growth has become single-digit. Now, there is a geopolitical context to it. There is what's happening in the US in IRA, what's happening in technology adoption. Go to campus placements. You go to any management institute or any engineering institute, and you know the story that unemployment or options are exempt. Now, I am glad that the Congress has a firm grasp of the obvious, and they have come out with some idea, which is progress. But I must say that the idea is long on promise and short on details. As you said at the beginning of the program, the Congress has a history of coming up with nice, interesting ideas. In 2019, they had an idea of giving 1/3 government jobs to women. How many of their states implemented it? They had 5 states where they were in power. Did they implement it? No. You look at government jobs, they're saying that they will fill government jobs. They've been in power in Karnataka for about 6-7 months. What is the level of constabulary vacant posts and teacher vacant posts in the state of Karnataka? In Himachal Pradesh, what is the level of vacant posts for teachers? And in Himachal Pradesh, mind you, is a better run state. So the question is that how do you resolve this? And is the apprenticeship only with government? Is the apprenticeship a public-private partnership? How are you going to fund that apprenticeship program? What is the math? Do we know how many graduates we produce in this country? We know that people are enrolled. If you go and ask the UGC, you will not get a figure on how many graduates pass out. If you go and find out how many diploma holders pass out, you may not find the figure. So this promise is now between data and data.
Okay, so you're saying that they need to provide details. J.B. Mathur, you just heard Shankara here there saying, he makes two strong points. One is, you've got to walk the talk in states where you're in par. Karnataka is a good example where number of government jobs still remain unfilled. He also raises the issue of the detailing. When you say we will provide a right to apprenticeship to those graduates who are not getting employment, how are you going to do it? When you say that you're going to provide social security benefits to all gig economy workers, people will raise, where are you going to fund? How are you going to fund that? These are the details that you need. You've come up with an announcement. Where are the details?
Congress has made it already very clear that the details will be laid out in the Congress manifesto soon. What we have launched today is the idea and the basic plan of projects which we would be doing when we come to power, and that's a crisp idea. But the details will come in the manifesto in the coming days. Now, as far as at least the point to be looked is what happened to 2 lakh crore of jobs promised by Prime Minister very openly 10 years back. It should have been the kind of jobs generated would have been so huge, but that did not happen. When an election is coming, a Lok Sabha election is coming, what did the incumbent government did in the past 5 years, or in this case, past the 10 years? No, they do not even fill up the vacancies in government posts. And when we have come up with a plan, we have clear plans. And if you look at the UPA, we have implemented. We have shown. Now that why are they so reluctant to answer?
Okay, one of the points on which they are...
Rajdeep, 1 second.
Yes.
Let me just complete. Now the BJP spokesperson, he was saying, oh, the cabinet has cleared the AI scheme. I mean, what do you mean? You had 10 years and at the eve of election, something is cleared, and that's what he is saying it as a big credit. Now, secondly, the mood of the nation of your channel, India Today itself, what did it say? What did it say, and what did it reflect on employment? Did your mood of the nation say that this will be one of the biggest issues?
No, it did. Ma'am, J.B. Mathur, the India Today Mood of the Nation poll said 71% of Indians think that unemployment is a serious or somewhat serious issue. Yet, many of those people said they will vote for the BJP. You see, this is the dilemma. They don't seem to trust you that you will be able to resolve the problem. You're going to have to provide more details, ma'am.
We will be providing the details in the days to come in the Congress manifesto. But what I wish to say is we have a plan, and the country should trust us for something like Manrega, which is still continues to be the rural hunger stopper for the poor.
Okay, so I will take that.
We have done it. We have proved it.
Okay, you can claim Manrega is a success according to you in terms of having in many distressful times aided people, especially in rural India. But twins government jobs vacancies have not been filled in for years. Therefore, now on the eve of the election, to suddenly say, look, we can resolve you haven't resolved issues for 9.5 years, even with government jobs. Vacancies in government jobs is a major issue.
Rajdeep, with some of these government jobs, one needs to look at the long-term economic viability because, like I mentioned, the nature of jobs are changing, and some of these need to be at the contractual mode. So that is one of the reasons why all of these have not been filled. But at the same time, in the last few months, 8 lakh people have been provided employment through the Rozgar Melas, through the multiple Rozgar Melas that have taken place across the country.
No, but that's because the government woke up to the reality a year ago. You see, you've been in power for 10 years.
We have always been, allow me to complete, we have always been abreast of the reality in the last 10 years. The total number of unicorns has gone up to 113, the valuation of which is $350 billion plus. How did it happen? Because of 10,000 Atal incubation centers playing a very crucial catalyzing role, which the Congress obviously seems to be completely ignorant of. Now, when it comes to Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, 1.4 crore people have been skilled, and all of these have led to increased entrepreneurship. So, and I'm so glad that for the first time you pointed out about Rajasthan. When Congress makes all these tall promises, the biggest unemployment rate was in Rajasthan. Where have the biggest exam paper leaks taken place? Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand. Where has the biggest Manrega scam taken place in recent years? Again, it is Jharkhand, one of the cases which ED is investigating against the JMM Congress government. So, before talking big, I think the Congress needs to realize its own track record. And one of the reasons why their promises don't hold is that they have a very poor deliverance, or probably people feel cheated by the
Can I just get Shankar Iyer as a... Shankar Iyer, do you believe, therefore, that when a poll that we carried out said 71% believe that unemployment is serious or somewhat serious, does that translate into a poll pitch? Or is election and electoral behavior, in your view, disconnected from the issues of real issues like Rozgar?
Well, the incentive process of policy and votes, I don't think they're aligned. If they were, you wouldn't have things that are happening in Bihar or Jharkhand. Or you wouldn't be seeing 48 lakh people applying for 60,000 jobs. So obviously that's not the case. But the other aspect, Rajdeep, that one must pay attention to is first-time voters in the past 3 elections have chosen to be rebellious of the establishment. Mm-hmm. And it is the general history of Indian elections that elections are made or, parties win power or lose power on 2 aspects, basic freedoms and corruption. But the underlying process is driven by those who suffer the burden, which is the women and the youth. So some amount of work has happened in empowering women or, giving some solace. But the youth factor is still a question mark. The issue that the Congress faces is it might have the best ideas, but do the people trust it to implement it? Do the people think that it will come to power to do it? Because the chaos of 2013, 2014, 2012 is not easily forgotten by people. Okay. So there is an issue of trust deficit here. And if you see in 2014 and 2019, the youth has clearly voted with the BJP. So the Congress has a really uphill task to establish the credibility of its idea.
Okay, let's leave it there. At least it's an idea. At least the Congress has thrown up something which is worthy of a deeper debate. And surely in this year of 2024, one would want more debates on critical issues like paper leaks, like who will provide quality jobs to the youth of this country. J.B. Mathur, Tuhin Sinha, Shankar Iyer, thank you very much for joining me on my top talking point tonight. Let's turn from there to Kashmir, because the Prime Minister was there and held his first rally there since the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019. He spoke of a Badalta Kashmir, saying progress of Srinagar was crucial to the progress of Bharat. The opposition, though, is questioning whether Mr. Modi has even fulfilled the initial promise of full statehood and democracy for Jammu and Kashmir. Listen in.
जम्मू कश्मीर केवल एक क्षेत्र नहीं है, ये जम्मू कश्मीर भारत का मस्तक है.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi returning to Kashmir after nearly 5 years, and the valley has undergone a sea change since then. Article 370 is history, putting Kashmir on the road to full integration with India. On his first visit since the abrogation of Article 370, Prime Minister Modi said his government ended decades of bias.
जम्मू कश्मीर आज खुल करके सांस ले रहा है. बंदिशों से ये आजादी आर्टिकल 370 हटने के बाद आई है. दशकों तक सियासी फायदे के लिए कांग्रेस और उसके साथियों ने 370 के नाम पर जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों को गुमराह किया, देश को गुमराह किया.
The Prime Minister also trained guns on the Congress, National Conference and PDP for keeping Parivar before the welfare of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
परिवारवादी पार्टियों ने जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों को दशकों तक इन अधिकारों से वंचित रखा। आज हर वर्ग को उनके अधिकार लौटाए जा रहे हैं। जम्मू कश्मीर में परिवारवाद और भ्रष्टाचार का एक बहुत बड़ी भुक्तभोगी रही है हमारी जे.एंड.के बैंक। इस बैंक को तबाह करने में यहां की पहले की सरकारों ने कोई कोर कसर बाकी नहीं छोड़ी।
NC patron Farooq Abdullah hit out at the Prime Minister, claiming there's been no dynastic rule in India since the independence.
Dynastic rule is like the Maharajas had, that Maharaja died, his son took over, and his son didn't take over, the grandson took over. That was dynastic rule. There is no dynastic rule in India since independence.
The Prime Minister also said there was an era when the people of Jammu and Kashmir were deprived of benefits, and now the valley is flourishing under Modi Sarkar.
कुछ परिवारों के फायदे के लिए जम्मू कश्मीर को जंजीरों में जकड़ दिया गया था। आज 370 नहीं है, इसलिए जम्मू कश्मीर के युवाओं की प्रतिभा का पूरा सम्मान हो रहा है, उन्हें नए अवसर मिल रहे हैं।
While the Congress took aim at Prime Minister Modi's visit, questioning when full statehood will be granted to Jammu and Kashmir.
हमारे कुछ सवाल हैं प्रधानमंत्री से। आप 5 साल के बाद, 9 साल के बाद आप कश्मीर घाटी जा रहे हैं। कश्मीर, जम्मू और कश्मीर को यूटी बनाया गया, इसको पूरा राज्य का दर्जा कब वापस लौटाया जाएगा?
With Pooja Shali in Srinagar, Bureau Report, India Today.
Modi's Naya Kashmir promises, have they been fulfilled or not? Before I come to my guest, just to put it in perspective, remember the Prime Minister promised statehood? UT status for J&K was to be a temporary situation. The status, J&K remains a UT, Ladakh is boiling and no polls yet. Investment, the Prime Minister promised investments would pour in after Article 370. Status, investment on the ground has improved, now stands at over 2,518 crores, but it isn't as if Kashmir is being flooded with investments. Employment, promise 50,000 government jobs in J&K in 3 months. So far, 31,830 vacancies filled in the government sector. Restoring normalcy, promise peace and normalcy will be restored in the valley. Terror attacks have certainly declined, but targeted killings have increased. Make Jammu and Kashmir a film industry and entertainment hub. Establish J&K as a film shooting destination. Status, movie halls have opened and 300 films have been shot in Jammu and Kashmir in this period. So, kabhi khushi, kabhi gum, you could say. Some things have worked, some things have not. Joining me now, Niloofar Masood, she's a leader of the National Conference, and Ajay Churungu, he's Chairman Panun Kashmir. Appreciate both of you joining us. Niloofar, to you first. How will you accept that some of the Prime Minister's promises have been fulfilled, especially when it comes to terror attacks being in decline? Tourism has increased substantially. Would you agree that some promises have been fulfilled?
I think major of the promises which were made on the floor of the Parliament on the 5th August 2019 that have not been fulfilled. In fact, we were expecting something huge will come out today, and there will be big announcement with respect to restoration of the statehood, and maybe the Prime Minister will also announce that there will be restoration of the democracy before in September, as has been laid down by the Honorable Supreme Court. But nothing, we could find nothing on the ground. We have no job securities here. You know that the unemployment rate in Jammu and Kashmir at the present time between 15 to 29 age group is 18.3%. So this is the highest one. And we have not heard anything from Prime Minister's mouth coming out that they will be having some job policies for this unemployed youth. Besides this, we haven't heard anything about phase-wise return of the Kashmiri Pandits. Neither the regularization of the daily wagers, other employees, contractuals who had been in fact dragged to attend this not public rally in fact, but the employees rally, I'll call it, because for the reason employees were dragged from border areas to attend this. It was all show managed by the administration, respective district administrations. So
okay, so
whatever
you're saying that there are, you will of course say, you're a leader of the national conference, there are more misses than hits. But I want to take that last point. Ajay Chungru, Chairman Panoon Kashmir, the point that was just made that Kashmiri Pandits, their return to the valley, this has been the big claim that the BJP has always made, that we will bring peace and normalcy and ensure conditions are right for Kashmiri Pandits to return. How do you see that commitment which was made 5 years ago? Is it fair to judge the Prime Minister on that? Because 5 years, many will say, is not enough time given you've had 30 years of insurgency.
Rajdeep, as you said in your introduction, that there are areas where there has been improvement. The terrorist violence, at least on the statistical front, seems to have declined, and the overall developmental processes seem to have taken off, and it appears it is in front of us, very visible that a lot of developmental work is going across. But so far as the question of the Hindus of Kashmir, displaced Hindus, internally displaced Hindus of Kashmir is concerned, that is an area of disappointment, because we see Government of India primarily going with the same approach which National Conference and Congress had evolved. They do not recognize that a genocide has taken place in Kashmir Valley. They are still using the nomenclature of a migrant for the internally displaced people of Kashmir. They do not recognize the fact that even during the BJP's rule in J&K, erstwhile state and now union territory, the 2 times complete religious cleansing of the few thousand Hindus living in Kashmir has been accomplished. And we see that still the targeted killing of Hindus is not being analyzed in the framework in which it should have been analyzed. We see a constant process of denial of genocide and the consolidation of the genocide of the Hindus of Kashmir. Now, it's an area of disappointment. We had an expectation after the removal of Article 370 and reorganization of state that Government of India will take a different turn. It will stop mimicking Congress or National Conference so far as, yes.
Right. No, but what would you say is the big positive then? If I were to ask you, what according to you is the big positive of the last 4 or 5 years?
Of this government,
yes,
the biggest positive is that the Article 370 was removed. Article 370 created a state, a Muslim state on the territory of India. It was a colonial stranglehold. It was an imperialistic stranglehold. They did it. It was a phenomenal step which the government took. But after reorganizing the state, the steps which should have been taken up to deal the internal violence in the state, terrorist violence or fundamentalist violence, and addressing the issue of the religious cleansing of Kashmiri Hindus, it was not, the government did not move in that direction.
Okay, so you give me a sense of where you stand from the Panoon Kashmir point of view. Nilufar Masood, you know, you're going on about how this government has failed on the jobs front, but I can look at numbers when you were in power. It's not as if, you know, jobs has been a huge crisis in the valley now for years. The truth of the matter is that the scale of investments in the last 5 years have shown some signs of picking up. There is a sense that if peace and stability, if you can restore peace, that's the first way to get in investment and jobs. So the National Conference cannot target the present government or the administration for saying they haven't provided jobs. This has been a problem for decades. You've got to rebuild the trust which has...
No, Rajdeep, if you see any sector, be it electricity sector, PDD department, you take any sector, be it health, be it any department, you will find crisis everywhere. We are facing problems. We are facing basic problems here. It's not the question of jobs only. This percentage has not, in fact, come down. If you go through the percentage when it was in the year 2014, when it was our government, it was not, it had never touched 18% or above. It was never in double figure, in fact. But the point is that we had been promised on 5th August 2019 that we'll be having private sector also, everything will be fine within a period of 6 months. Now 5 years have already passed and we haven't seen any foreign investment. You have seen that last year youth were on the ground, they were in fact demonstrating because of the reason they wanted that all the vacant posts they should be fulfilled, or either the exams they have set in the results were off and on said that this is to be cancelled because of the reason there is corruption. On one way, you are saying that previous governments, they have been responsible for the corruption, they have been responsible all the mess. But once the 370 article was abrogated, so there was no impediment in the eyes of the, or in the path of the progress and peace. But we couldn't find it that way going.
So you're saying that the government has left its promises unfulfilled. You're even making a serious charge that the crowds that were brought in today were hired. They were basically pushed. You made all these charges. Fact, these are serious charges, but Rome is not built in a day.
They were dragged, in fact.
Sure, ma'am, but I will only say this, just as Rome is not built in a day, Naya Kashmir cannot be built in a day. Let's be very clear, there are no magic bullets and magic solutions that are available, but clearly for now...
But there can be basic, some, we can say, restoration of the rights, in fact. That is not there.
That's a point. Do you believe that Ajay Chungru, do you believe that the rights of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, and I here refer both to the valley and to Jammu and indeed Ladakh, which is restive, their rights have not been given back to them, that unless you have free, fair elections, a state government of your own, restore statehood, that sense of self-respect will not come back. It's one thing abrogating Article 370. It's another thing restoring statehood.
You see, again, it's an area where we can have a discussion, because our view, Pan Kashmir's view is that the reorganization is to be taken to its logical conclusion, and there is a necessity of dividing Kashmir into two parts. And in one of the part, the Hindus have to be settled, the Hindus which were displaced. But if I don't talk about that, I talk about the present situation in a state where the religious cleansing has taken place, and the rights of a minority has been, a religious group has been totally destroyed. How could you restore the rights when there is not a political consensus that this process has to be reversed? How could you how could the Hindus of Kashmir vote from exile through postal ballot, and you say that the democracy has been restored? Who created this situation? National Conference created this situation, Congress created this situation, and BJP is allowing this situation to continue. I do not think the question of rights will be settled unless the issue of genocide of Hindus is not addressed.
Okay.
If the issue of genocide is not addressed, this genocidal process has already spilled over to rest of India, and the jihadi war has already spilled over to rest of India.
Let me leave it there.
The problems are going to
Let me leave it there, sir. You've expressed your anguish, and I've heard from the National Conference spokesperson as well. As I said, not easy to build a consensus in a state like Jammu and Kashmir, which remains sadly polarized and divided on the ground. Hopefully, Naya Kashmir will not remain a dream. Thank you, though, both very much for joining me on the show tonight. Well, someone, though, who can finally breathe free is the former Delhi University professor G.N. Saibaba. After almost a decade in jail, the former Delhi University professor was released from the Nagpur Central Jail 2 days after the Bombay High Court acquitted him in an alleged Maoist links case, noting that the prosecution failed to prove the charges against him. The state of Maharashtra has now moved the Supreme Court, though, against the Bombay High Court's acquittal order. This is what Saibaba had to say when he came out of jail.
If the Constitution of India is implemented at least 50%, the change will come definitely. I hope that kind of a hope I have. But if the Constitution of India is at least implemented in letter and spirit for 50% or even also, the change will be definite. See, the question is, should one continue the activism of human rights? It's a question for everyone, in the sense that every responsible citizen of this country should work for human rights. It's not anything special to me.